The family dinner table fell silent as my mother-in-law, Eleanor Sullivan, slammed her designer handbag onto the mahogany surface. "This charade has gone on long enough," she declared, pulling out a stack of papers. "I've hired private investigators to look into your background, Linda. It's time my son knew the truth about who he married." I kept my face carefully neutral, continuing to feed my 6-month-old daughter her baby food. My husband Michael looked between us, confusion evident on his face. "Mom, what are you talking about?" Eleanor spread the papers dramatically across the table. "Your wife isn't just a secretary at Morgan Enterprises as she claims. She's been lying about everything. If only she knew how right and wrong she was at the same time. Yes, I wasn't just a secretary. I was the CEO and majority owner of Morgan Enterprises, working undercover to investigate a series of suspicious acquisitions. But I couldn't reveal that yet, not until we found out who was trying to steal my company." According to these investigations, Eleanor continued smugly, she's been accessing confidential company files, attending secret meetings, and hiding her real activities from everyone. Michael turned to me, hurt in his eyes. "Linda, is this true?" I started, but Eleanor wasn't finished. "She's obviously trying to steal company secrets for a competitor. Why else would a mere secretary have access to the CEO's private files?" She turned to Michael. "Darling, I've already contacted our lawyers. We can have this marriage annulled, claiming fraud." What Eleanor didn't know was that her own recent activities had raised red flags in our security system. Anonymous shell companies trying to buy up Morgan Enterprises stock. Suspicious emails from offshore accounts, all traced back to the Sullivan family's private server. "Think about it," Eleanor pressed. "Have you ever seen her boss? This mysterious CEO she claims to work for. No one has, because she's been lying about everything." Michael looked torn. We'd met when he came to fix the company's 8 systems, me pretending to be a secretary, him unaware that I owned the building he was working in. It had been real, falling in love with someone who didn't know about my wealth or power. "There's more," Eleanor smiled coldly. "I've already spoken to Morgan Enterprises' board of directors. They're very interested in what I've discovered of their employees' activities." My phone buzzed. A message from my head of security. "URGENT, Sullivan Industries attempting hostile takeover. Emergency board meeting call for tomorrow." Eleanor was right about one thing. It was time for the truth to come out. Just not the truth she expected. As if on cue, my daughter knocked over her bowl of baby food, splattering Eleanor's evidence files with pureed carrots. "You can't even control your own child." Eleanor snapped. "How could you possibly be anything more than what you are? A secretary who tricked my son into marriage?" I stood up slowly, wiping my daughter's face. "You're right, Eleanor. It's time everyone knew the truth." I pulled out my phone, pressing a single button. Send in the files. The doorbell rang, and Eleanor's smug smile began to fade. The door opened to reveal James Parker, Morgan Enterprises' silver-haired chief legal officer. Behind him stood a team of serious-looking executives, all members of the board Eleanor had claimed to be in contact with. "Mrs. Sullivan," James nodded politely at my mother-in-law. "I believe you've been expecting us, though perhaps not quite like this." Eleanor's perfectly manicured hands began to shake. I don't understand. I spoke with the board yesterday." "No," James corrected, setting down his briefcase. "You spoke with actors hired by your private investigator. The real board has been monitoring your activities very carefully." Michael stood up, tech expert mind quickly connecting dots. "Mom, what have you done?" James pulled out a laptop, displaying emails and financial records. "Mrs. Sullivan has been attempting to orchestrate a hostile takeover of Morgan Enterprises through a series of shell companies. Unfortunately for her, she was trying to steal from the wrong person." "That's ridiculous," Eleanor protested. "I was protecting the company from her." She jabbed a finger at me. "She's the one accessing confidential files." "Of course she is," James smiled. "They're her files." The room went silent except for my daughter's happy babbling as she played with her spoon. "What do you mean, her files?" Michael asked quietly. I took a deep breath. "My full name is Linda Morgan Chen. I'm not the CEO's secretary. I'm the CEO and majority shareholder of Morgan Enterprises." Eleanor laughed hysterically. "Impossible. The CEO is a reclusive genius who never appears in public. Everyone knows that. Yes, James agreed. A carefully crafted image that allowed Ms. Morgan to work alongside her employees, learning every aspect of her company while watching for corporate espionage. Like, for example, a mother-in-law using her son's credentials to hack our systems. Michael's face went pale. Mom used my security access? Every time you worked late, I explained gently, your mother's team was using your credentials to probe our networks. We detected it months ago, but needed to understand the full scope of the operation. Eleanor's composure cracked completely. You don't understand. Sullivan Industries is failing. We needed this acquisition to survive. About Sullivan Industries, James interjected, pulling out more documents. Our investigation uncovered some interesting transfers from your company's pension fund. But before he could continue, Eleanor grabbed her phone and pressed a button. Suddenly, every computer screen in the house lit up with the same message. Data transfer initiated. If I'm going down, she snarled, I'm taking your precious company's secrets with me. What she didn't notice was my daughter, still playing with her spoon, happily pressing buttons on the special toy phone I'd given her to play with. A phone that was about to disrupt Eleanor's entire plan. Data transfer complete. The screens flashed, and Eleanor's triumphant smile lasted exactly 3 seconds before all the displays changed to show a cartoon baby giggling. What? What is this? She demanded. I picked up my daughter's toy phone. A decoy network. Did you really think I'd let you access our real systems through Michael's home office? Every file you thought you were stealing has been fake, created specifically for you to find. Impossible. Eleanor's perfectly maintained facade was crumbling. Our tech team confirmed. Your tech team. Michael interrupted, understanding dawning on his face. You mean the same team that's been helping you empty our employees' pension funds? James nodded gravely. We have proof that Sullivan Industries has been systematically draining their pension accounts to fund this takeover attempt. Over 3,000 employees' retirement savings gone. Eleanor's phone rang. Her face went ashen as she read the message. No, this isn't happening. That would be the SEC, James explained. They're currently raiding Sullivan Industries offices. Your board members are being arrested as we speak. But Eleanor wasn't listening anymore. She was staring at her phone, fingers flying across the screen. You think you've won? I still have one card left to play. She looked up with a dangerous smile. Tell them about Project Phoenix, Linda. Tell them what Morgan Enterprises is really working on. I felt the blood drain from my face. Project Phoenix was our most classified research initiative, a quantum computing breakthrough that could revolutionize global communications. No one outside the highest levels of the company knew about it. How do you know about Phoenix? I demanded. Because Eleanor's smile widened. I have someone on the inside. Someone much closer than you think. She looked meaningfully at Michael. My husband stood frozen, his face unreadable. Michael? I whispered. What is she talking about? I'm so sorry, Linda, he said quietly. But there's something I never told you about why I really came to work at Morgan Enterprises. The room temperature seemed to drop 10 degrees as my world began to tilt on its axis. But before Michael could continue, our daughter let out a happy squeal and pressed one more button on her toy phone. The screens around us suddenly filled with new information that made both Michael and Eleanor's faces go white with shock. Project Phoenix isn't what you think it is, I said quietly, as the screens displayed the full truth of our quantum computing research. It was never about communications technology. My daughter giggled again, pressing more buttons on her special phone. Actually, a quantum encrypted controller connected to Morgan Enterprises' real network. It's about protection. Michael finished, his voice filled with dawning understanding. You were building a defense system. Eleanor stared at the screens in confusion. I don't understand. Our intelligence said. Your intelligence was exactly what we wanted you to find, I explained. Because Project Phoenix's real purpose is to detect and prevent corporate espionage. Like, for example, tracking when someone tries to steal employee pension funds. The screen showed a complex web of financial transactions, every move Sullivan Industries had made, every account they tried to hide, all mapped and documented by our quantum AI. But Michael. Eleanor turned desperately to her son. You said you found evidence of illegal research. The files you accessed were planted, Michael said, because I already knew the truth about Phoenix. I've known for months. My turn to be surprised. You knew? He smiled savely. I figured it out 3 months ago. The quantum signatures in the network, the pattern recognition algorithms, it could only be defensive technology. That's when I started feeding my mother false information. Eleanor's face contorted with rage. You betrayed me? Your own mother? You betrayed your employees, Michael shot back. Their retirement savings, their futures, and for what? Corporate greed? James stepped forward with more documents. Mrs. Sullivan, we've recovered all the pension funds. They've been secured and returned to their rightful owners with interest. But the takeover, Eleanor sputtered, was never going to work. I finished, because Project Phoenix had already identified and blocked every potential attack vector. Your entire plan was contained from the start. My daughter chose that moment to throw her quantum controller, hitting Eleanor's designer handbag and spilling its contents, including a flash drive labeled Phoenix Data. Your final evidence? I picked up the drive. Contains nothing but baby photos, which, honestly, is rather fitting. As FBI agents arrived to arrest Eleanor, Michael turned to me. I should have told you I knew. And I should have told you who I really was, I replied. No more secrets. He smiled, picking up our daughter. No more secrets. 1 year later, Morgan Enterprises' quantum defense system protects companies worldwide from corporate theft. Eleanor serves time for pension fraud, teaching financial literacy classes to fellow inmates, a fitting punishment for someone who stole retirement dreams. Michael now officially heads our cybersecurity division, using his skills to help others instead of hiding them. Our daughter has a real toy phone now, though she sometimes misses her quantum controller. As for me, I still work alongside my employees regularly, but now they know who I am. Because the best way to protect something valuable isn't to hide it away. It's to build a community strong enough to defend it together. The real Project Phoenix wasn't just about quantum computing or corporate defense. It was about rising from the ashes of old secrets to build something truly transparent. Eleanor's office at Sullivan Industries is now a daycare center for our employees' children. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about getting even. It's about making sure the next generation never has to face the same battles.